Hi, great handsome. I hope you guys are okay. This is Mr. Chauke. I'm a professional teacher and tutor for accounting. If you're watching this, you're definitely at the right place. Please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down there, and also that you leave your comments about this lesson so that we can know where do we need to improve and what also you would like us to have a lesson on in our next class. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Let's get into the lesson now. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at the year-end adjustment. It is a class test from our lesson notes, but I'm just going to explain so that you guys can be able to understand much more better. Now, guys, when it comes to this, you should have a good understanding of the accounting equation. By now, you should be able to understand the effects of double entry on a transaction, because without that understanding, you're going to have a problem when you do your income statement, when you do your balance sheet, because remember, those are the topics that you would have in your project for term 3 in grade 10. So make sure that you work around that. Make sure that you understand how does that work. If you need help, this is the time you need to get it. Don't get it closer towards the project. Make sure that you get it now so that you can have enough time to find strategies that are going to work for you and help you to understand. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's get into the lesson. Now here they're saying that we are requested to show the following transactions in the general journal of ZZ Traders. Now remember that a general journal, it is a book where we record transactions that do not have elsewhere to be recorded, and we are also correcting some errors and omissions. So now remember here, guys, here what we'll be doing, we'll be correcting some of the things that have been over recorded, and also some that have been under recorded. Okay, in terms of prepaid expenses, we are going to be reducing them. In terms of accrued expenses, we are going to be increasing them, and in terms of income received in advance, we are going to be reducing those incomes. In terms of accrued income, we are going to be increasing those incomes. So those are the things that you need to keep in mind when you do this. Okay, so the first transaction here says that the account of parents a debtor has to be written off as a bad debt. You need to think about the accounts that are affected whenever you write off someone. Remember, this person is under our debtors because he's a debtor, so this is one of the accounts, and then they're saying that he has to be written off as a bad debt. In other words, the second account is bad debt. So we already have an idea of what is happening. Now remember, when we write off someone, our debtors are decreasing, and we know that our debtors are decreasing on the credit side. And when someone becomes a bad debt, they become an expense to us. In other words, account debited is bad debt. So you need to write with that understanding. So we are going to go to our answer sheet, and we're going to do it exactly like that. So we're going to say that for number 1, and remember, guys, in this lesson, I'm not going to give the narrations. I'm just going to show you how to apply double entry, but it's very important that you guys try and put down the narrations. Okay, so I'm just going to explain to you in terms of double entry so that you can get it. And these are the most common transactions that you are most likely going to get in your tasks as you do them. Okay, so remember, we said that we're going to debit debts, and then we are going to credit the account that we are going to credit. Remember that we are going to credit our debtors control, because debtors control as an asset is decreasing, so hence it has to be debited. And then the amount was given to us as 185, so that 185 will come here, so we'll debit by 185 and then also credit by 185. So now when we give a narration, we can simply say, maybe let me show you so that you don't forget. We can just say the narration is what is the explanation of the transaction, what is happening here. We can just say bad debt written off, then we have narrated the situation, then you are done with this transaction. Okay, remember, we've identified account debited and account credited. Very important, you must always check for that. The next transaction says included in the total amount for advertising is 2,300 for a 5-month contract which expires on 31 May 2012. Now here what is happening is that you must remember the end of our financial year. Our financial year ends in February, but this insurance advertising, it is up until May 2012, so meaning that it is outside our financial period. by 3 months because it's going to be March, April, May. But they're saying that this is for 5 months. So what can we do? We need to take this 2,300, you divide it by 5 so that you can know how much was paid for advertising per month. So remember, it's outside our financial period by 3 months. So if you say 460 multiply by 3, it's going to give you 1,380. So we need to write this in such a way that it shows that we are decreasing our advertising and increasing our prepaid expense. So remember, prepaid expense is an asset, and it increases on the debit side. So we're going to debit here. So we're going to say debit prepaid expense, and we are going to credit advertising because you paid it ahead. And remember, by this time, guys, debt leak becomes very important. If you don't know debt leak, make sure you work around that because it is going to make life easy for you when it comes to this. Okay, and then when we narrate, we can just say prepaid, or you can just say advertising paid in advance by 3 months. Some learners will just say prepaid advertising in bracket 3 months. So it doesn't matter as long as it makes sense. Whatever that you've narrated, remember, in narration it's an explanation, so whatever that you are narrating must make sense. So remember, our amount according to here was 1,380, so that 1,380 must come here then. Okay, now from there we can go to the next transaction. The next transaction says that water and electricity owed for February 2002 120. So remember, if they're saying that we are still owing, it means that it is accrued, and we know that when an expense it is accrued, we must increase it. So when it's like this, we're going to say we're going to debit this expense because it must increase. So we're going to debit water and electricity. That's the account that we're going to debit. So we're going to debit water and electricity. Okay, and then now think about it. This, if something is accrued, what does it mean? It means that we owe those people in terms of these expenses. So our accrued expense will become a liability. So we have accrued expense, and then when we narrate, we can say water and electricity owed. Then you get an understanding that we are owing. Remember, the amount according to this, they said it's 120. So this 120 will come here. We'll debit by 120 and then credit by 120 also. Then you are done with this transaction. Then we move to the next one. The next one says that the fixed deposit appears in the books of the business as follows. Now, in terms of fixed deposit, guys, you must be very careful. All you want to do, you want to check whether the interest that you were supposed to receive has been received accordingly or not. You want to check, is your interest accrued or received in advance? That's all you want to check. Now here they're saying that at the beginning of the year we had a fixed deposit of 6,000, and then on the 1st of July we invested in an additional fixed deposit of 4.5. Now here they're saying that both amounts have been invested at 15% per annum. Calculate the interest for the accounting period. So we need to start with this one. Remember, this one started the year with us because we started the year on the 1st of March 2011. So it started that year with us. So what we need to do is to check if the interest that we received is equivalent to what we were supposed to receive. So let's start with the one for 6,000. Remember, it's going to be 6,000 multiplied by 15 divided by 100, and then times 12 divided by 12, because this was with us for the entire financial period. So for the first one, the interest that we were supposed to receive, we were supposed to get 900. Maybe let me make a note here so that I don't forget. We were supposed to get 900. So for now, we don't know between the two which one has been accrued. So we're supposed to get 900. We need to check the second one. Now remember, the second one here, it was invested from the 1st of July, so meaning that it's going to be from July until the end of the year. So we'd have July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, which is 8 months. So meaning that we need to calculate interest for these for 8 months. So I'm just going to come here and then change here it will be 8 divided by 12, and then here is going to be 4,500. But remember guys, when you do your calculations, you must show them. Okay, so this is how on the calculator you'll do it. The answer that we're getting here is 450. So we are going to come here and say plus 450. This is the total interest that we were supposed to get for the year, 900 plus 450. So we take 900 plus 450, it is giving us 1,350. So the total that we are supposed to get is 1,350. Now we need to check, did we really get 1,350 or not on interest on fixed deposit? So if you look at this, we only got the one for 900, so meaning that we will need to record the accrued income of 450. So when it's like this, we are going to say debit accrued income, and then because remember accrued income is an asset, and then we are going to credit interest on fixed deposit. So we're going to say credit interest on fixed deposit. Very important guys. And when we explain for this, we are going to say we can just say interest is accrued. Then we know that it means they are owing us interest of 450. Remember, this must be written in a way that people can understand. Okay, then we are done with that transaction, and they like it guys. In grade 10 you must make sure that you work on that. You must make sure that you understand that transaction. Okay, now let's move to the next one. The next one here, they're saying that a check for 120 cents to a high school as a donation was debited to the drawings account by mistake. So I normally advise learners to say, when it comes to a transaction where there is a mistake, what you must do, you must firstly think about what they were supposed to do and look at what they've actually done. Okay, so remember, whenever a donation is made, what we do is supposed to debit donations. But what did they do here? They debited drawings. So in other words, we must try to reverse what they've done. If they debited the drawings by mistake, it means that for now we would have to credit the drawings to correct that mistake. So we're going to say in terms of this one, we will say credit drawings, and then we need to think about what was supposed to be debited. So remember here they said that this money was sent as a donation. So what must we do then? Then we must then try to remember we debited we credited drawings. So now we want to do the right thing because we corrected the mistake. We were supposed to debit donations. So even here we're going to say debit donations. And remember here the explanation will be correction of error because you are correcting a mistake. Okay, remember the amount was 120, so that 120 will come here and here. Then you are done recording this transaction. If you have questions guys, you're more than welcome to let me know. Okay, now let's look at the last one. The last one here, they're saying that part of the building has been let to Baloyi for 400 per month. Now they didn't tell you where this person started to hire. When did he start to hire from us? But what we must do, we must make sure that we check whether rent received is equivalent to what we were supposed to receive. So now remember here, let's do it like this. Rent received is 5,200. Okay, so I'm going to make a note here. So remember rent received it's 5,200. Now rent expected, this is the one that we were expecting to get. We need to compare if it's still owed or we are owing that person. So now here they're saying that this person part of the building has been let to Bibaloi for 400 per month. So they are telling us how much he was paying per month. So we need to check if what he gave us is equivalent to what we were supposed to get. Okay, if not, we make some adjustments. So let's see. Remember, this person stayed with us for the entire year, so we're going to say 400 multiplied by 12, and according to this 400 by 12, it gives us 4,800. So meaning that we were supposed to get 4.8 from him. Now you can see that we have received more than we were supposed to. So what we must do, we must make sure that we reduce by the difference. And when we reduce by the difference, because rent is an income, then it means that rent it's going to be debited, because we must reduce it. So we're going to say debit rent income. Remember, our incomes increase on the debit side, so we're going to say debit rent income, and then we're going to automatically, once we debit the rent income, it means that we're going to credit income received in advance, because you got this before the person could occupy the place for that particular month. Okay, so in other words, here when we give a narration, we are going to say income received in advance. Now what we must do after this, we must then start to check the difference between the two. If you say 5,200 minus 4.8, you're going to get 400. So it means that rent was received in advance by 1 month, so that 400 will come here. So we have that 400 here, and then also on the credit side. That's how, guys, you were supposed to answer this class test. Okay, now I hope that you guys, after watching this, you'd have a much better and clearer understanding of how this year-end adjustments work. It's very important, guys, that you practice this before your project, and if you need help, you're more than welcome to let me know through the details that will be left at the description of this video. Now with that out of the way, let's make sure that we share this lesson with our friends. Let's share this lesson with those that are attending in our school with us who are doing accounting. Make sure that you don't become selfish. Share with other learners, encourage them to also subscribe to this channel. Remember to subscribe, you don't have to pay anything, it is free of charge. I just want to help you to do better in accounting, because we have a deadline in accounting numbers. So please, guys, make sure that you cooperate and that you also watch these lessons, because they are going to benefit you at the end of the day. If you want me to personally tutor you, you are more than welcome to get in touch with me using the details that are available at the description of this video. With that out of the way, thank you so much, guys. May you have a blessed day at school. Shalom.